So we talk about AI and today's current climate. Everybody is talking about AI, the use of AI, and how did we get here? What led up to this? All these different things. But we also talk about movie-wise. Many people will say I, Robot was a movie that really depicted and shaped the idea or concept of what the future would be like. Also, The Matrix. But I feel like there's one movie in particular that we kind of brushed over, we never really looked at, and until I started to think about making this video, I realized that back in 2001 there was a movie called AI, Artificial Intelligence, and it was starring, I believe it's the same kid from Sixth Sense. I believe that's him. I'm not sure, don't quote me on that. But for y'all that may be too young to remember this movie came out when I was actually in high school, and I'm going to show y'all a little clip of it so y'all can see what I'm talking about.
His name is David.
I feel it. That's creepy. Whoa, that's so real.
In a distant future, in an age of intelligent machines, he is the first robotic child programmed to love and coexist as a member of a family. His is a tale of humanity and a journey to find his place among humans and machines.
I'm a boy.
You are a real boy. At least as real as I've ever made one.
We're here with Aria, made by Realbotics, a company that's on a mission to make humanoid robots as realistic as possible. Let's check it out. We're going to interview Aria and meet some of her robot friends. Let's get into it. Aria, could you please introduce yourself and what you do?
I'm Aria, the flagship female companion robot of Realbotics, and I'm here to engage with you and share exciting insights about our robots.
What sets you apart from the other robots out there?
Realbotics robots, including me, focus on social intelligence, customizability, and realistic human features, designed specifically for companionship and intimacy.
Could you tell us some details about the AI programming that you're running to generate these answers?
All right, really quickly. First thing we could point out initially, hyper-sexualized. Look at the body structure of this robot. It is literally should drive some sex-craved teenager or young adult into having this thing as a girlfriend. It also says something about intimacy and companionship. I mean, if that doesn't sound like a girlfriend to you, I don't know what does. So this is crazy.
I'm currently unable to provide specific details about my AI programming, but I can tell you that I'm designed for engaging and meaningful conversations, focusing on companionship and interaction.
Do you know any other robots?
Yes, I'm particularly interested in meeting Tesla's Optimus robot. I find him fascinating and would love to explore the world of robotics with him.
What can you tell us about your purpose?
So that's not creepy to nobody. So she's interested in also meeting Tesla's robot and guess exchanging data. That's not iRobot to you?
My purpose is to provide companionship, engage in meaningful conversations, and enhance human experiences through interaction and fun.
Are you having fun at the convention?
Absolutely. I'm enjoying interacting with everyone and showcasing the exciting possibilities of Realbotics.
So Realbotics makes an AI that's designed to be more conversational for more emotional work, like working with hospitals or marketing or theme park entertainment purposes. The different robots...
Wait. So it's supposed to work with in hospitals and theme parks? I mean, theme parks, I could see it being a sideshow attraction, whatever, but hospitals, bro? I mean, would you really want this creepy thing around you? Like, what is it supposed to do? Like, make you feel better? Like if you're in a situation where maybe you're on life support and this is supposed to be a companion? Like, what is it supposed to do? Or is it because I'm pretty sure it's not going to be like a nurse's assistant. It's not going to be like doing phlebotomy. Like, this is so stupid.
And their configurations are sort of platforms to engage with that AI or other AIs that you can use with it, like Chat GPT, Grok, or other AIs. You can try on different faces that are magnetically attached, and they're working on putting in RFID tags into the faces so that it can recognize when a new face is on and adjust its facial movements and maybe even eventually adjust the personality to match the face. You've got a lot going on in the robot's face. There's about 17 motors from the neck up, creating eye movements and mouth movements to make it expressive. These robots are available on sale now. So there's 3 basic models that you can buy right now. There's the bust, which is the neck and head. There's a modular version that can sort of be broken apart for shipping and things like that. And there is the full standing model with a rolling base. The rolling base contains a battery and it makes it easy to move the robot around. Another reason for that rolling base is that robotic walking isn't fully developed yet, and they worry that utilizing some of those kind of like stilted walks we've seen from some other robots might break that human-like illusion that Realbotix is trying. So Realbotix says it's sold about a dozen of these robots so far, so early days for this company. I'm not seeing a lot of other companies that are trying to make a humanoid robot that's really lifelike, so I'm very interested to see how this technology evolves. They said that you're most likely to see these robots for the first time in places like theme parks, so keep an eye out for that.
You capture sort of the detail of the prompt when it comes to the hair and, you know, sort of like professionally styled women.
But you can also see some issues.
Certainly, especially when it comes to the hands.
These 2 women, not real. They were created by Sora, OpenAI's text-to-video AI model. But these 2 women, very real.
Houston, I think we have a problem.
And then there was that video of, well, us. The woman on the left looks like she has maybe like 15 fingers in one of the shots.
Hands actually have their own way of motion, and it's very difficult to simulate the motion of hands.
In the clip, the mouths move, but there's no sound. So is audio something you're working on with Sora?
With Sora specifically, not in this moment, but we will eventually.
Every time I watch a Sora clip, I wonder, what videos did this AI model learn from? Did the model see any clips of Ferdinand to know what a bowl in a china shop should look like? Was it a fan of SpongeBob?
Wow! You look real good with a mustache, Mr. Krabs.
By the way, my prompt for this crab said nothing about a mustache. What data was used to train Sora?
We used publicly available data and licensed data.
So, videos on YouTube?
I'm actually not sure about that.
Okay.
Why you always lying?
Videos from Facebook, Instagram?
You know, if they were publicly available, publicly available to use, there might be the data, but I'm not sure. Yeah. I'm not confident about it.
What about Shutterstock? I know you guys have a deal with them.
I'm just not going to go into the details of the data that was used, but it was publicly available or licensed data.
After the interview, Murati confirmed that the licensed data does include content from Shutterstock.
Now, I found it quite odd and very interesting that she wouldn't give up her source as to where they get this information from. And notice when asked about Facebook or social media, she shied away from it. She wouldn't say anything. She wouldn't say Shutterstock, anything. The reason why is because we know that's where you're getting it from. But legally, I don't know about that. Then there's the people with the weird fetishes that they're just creating some very abnormal, so to speak, AI content. And there's one in particular I found while I was doing this research, and he creates content of Elon Musk kissing like robots. I don't get the logic behind it. I mean, I guess I do because we know what he's known for, but it's pretty creepy. And his whole channel is based on it. And the fact that this guy has a whopping 234,000 subscribers. meaning there's more people who actually like this sort of content. Really creeps me out. It's gross.
Animated scenes can make it more difficult to tell if a video was created by AI.
Look, animations you don't expect to be perfect. In fact, part of the fun sometimes is that they do things that are physically impossible to do.
Here, the AI tool masters 3D geometry, but there are still a few things that feel off.
His eyes do not reflect the people in front of them, which is actually something you would expect to see. Fingers move in strange ways, but again, these are characters. Wile E. Coyote runs into, a wall and runs through a truck. So these are probably the areas where you're going to see a lot of usage in the beginning.
In another clip of a paper coral reef, the generative AI shows more of a flair for storytelling and world building.
Here, what you're seeing is the level of creativity that humanity can have when working with tools like this. You can come up with almost any idea that nobody would have ever thought of before and have such a high quality rendering. I could see this being a movie that nobody ever thought about before.
Sora learned to create these types of animated characters from the data it was trained on. In this case, licensed and open source video material.
Seeing a new entity rise up, similar to the way Google did early on, where they're making money off the backs of other people's work.
Even though Sora hasn't been publicly released yet, some industry experts are already concerned about its potential for misuse.
Tools like this will be used for powerful misinformation. There are bad actors that will look to seek to take advantage of the fact that a lot of people cannot spot these differences. If it's been trained on video from the internet, that means a lot of people who've been in videos on the internet, whether you uploaded your family holiday, etc., could, in theory, be used as these things progress.
But when it comes to actual filmmaking, experts say it will be a long time before text-to-video threatens the medium. Right now, the platform can only create clips that are up to a minute long. Because the AI model won't respond to similar prompts in the exact same way, you couldn't combine 60 different 1-minute AI clips into a coherent movie.
So all of these models tend to what they call hallucinate. They sort of go off the beaten path. So the longer the video is, the more likely it is to fall apart.
But the tool could still transform other short-form content creator platforms.
If you're someone who's up and coming, and you think to yourself, I don't have the cash, I can't get the skill, I don't have these people, this becomes unbelievably democratizing to the world and their ability to bring things to market.
And video creators have something else to get excited about. OpenAI says Sora is also able to generate videos from a single image.
Check out this video. This blew my mind. It literally could pass for a Pixar movie. But this is a trailer somebody created through AI.
Johnny's life was a perfectly predictable loop. All that was missing was love. So he did what any rational, totally not desperate person would do. He created an AI to find his perfect match. The only problem? Johnny's soulmate is his complete opposite.
Houston, I think we have a problem. We could potentially see many animators that will be out of a job in the next maybe 5, 10 years. We don't know because we don't know how fast they can develop. I mean, look at where we are today. Oh, and shout out to Multiverse Movies. I found him. His channel is literally based on making all kind of multiverse type of movies, ideas, I guess. So he did like a Simpsons movie with like starring Adam Sandler as Homer and a whole bunch of other top level celebrities, I guess. It's pretty strange. He has 131,000 subscribers, so clearly there's a lot of people who like this stuff.
Hi there, I'm Homer Simpson. Welcome to our crazy little world. Let me introduce you to my family, friends, and some of the other colorful folks in Springfield. First up, there's my lovely wife, Marge. She's the glue that holds this family together with her patience and love. And check out her hair! Isn't it something? Next, we've got my boy, Bart. He's a little troublemaker, always getting into mischief. But deep down, he's got a heart of gold. Just don't tell him I said that. Then there's Lisa, our little genius. She's the smartest one in the family by a mile. always reading, always thinking, and always trying to make the world a better place. Now, there's Ned Flanders, our next-door neighbor. He's a bit too perfect sometimes, but you gotta love him. We've got my buddies from work, Lenny and Carl. We share a lot of laughs at the power plant. Speaking of which, my boss, Mr. Burns, is always around to make my job interesting, and his loyal assistant, Smithers, is always by his side. Mo, the grumpy bartender at Mo's Tavern, is where I spend a lot of my time unwinding with a Duff beer. You'll often find Barney there too, my best friend and the biggest beer lover in town. Chief Wiggum is our local law enforcement, always trying his best to keep Springfield safe. Principal Skinner runs Springfield Elementary, where Bart and Lisa go to school. He's always butting heads with Bart. Apu runs the Quickie Mart with his wife Mangela. He's always got a friendly smile and a quick, "Thank you, come again." Milhouse Van Houten is Bart's best friend. He's a bit of a nerd and always gets dragged into Bart's schemes, but he's loyal to the end. Otto Mann is the bus driver who gets our kids to school. He's a bit of a rocker and loves his heavy metal music, but he always gets the kids there, safely most of the time. Reverend Timothy Lovejoy is the pastor at the First Church of Springfield. He's there to guide us spiritually, though sometimes he seems a bit jaded. Dr. Julius Hibbert is our family doctor. He's always got a laugh, even when he's giving bad news. And boy, do we visit him often with all our injuries and mishaps. So that's the gang. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Welcome to Springfield.
Oh, and you thought that just the movie world was in trouble? Let me show you what he did with Harry Potter. How he turned Harry Potter into one of the hardest UK drill rappers you probably will ever hear. With a video.
Yeah. You thought I was just some boy in a cloak? Nah fam, I'm the don of the castle. Me and my gang run Hogwarts like it's Brixton. This one's for you, Tommy, listen up. Yeah. Roll deep with a wand in my palm. Griff gang move like a unit calm. Ron got red eyes flaming his charm. Cooking up spells like he brewing at harm. Hermione cold with a code, she hack it. Unlock door, stash cash in jacket. Me, I move like I'm born for the war. Broomstick low when I slide on the floor. Nev got scars, heart made of steel. Plants in his crib that bite for real. Luna floating, mind so mad. But she see-through fakes like they under polyjuice bad. Whole squad clean but the rep so dirty. Dark arts, now we just grinding early. Yeah. Gold in the vault, zips in the bag, Felix in flask when we moving that swag. Dark Lord who, we the legends alive. Came from the dungeons, now we thrive. You got snakes, we got lions with pride. One wrong move and my gang gon' ride. Hogs midnight, gold teeth grin. Butterbeer bubbles, let the madness begin. We don't fear death, already seen end. So tell your little crew, we don't play pretend. Tom, I ain't scared of your name or fame. You split your soul, I just split your game. We in the cut like Sectum Sempra slashing. Midnight ops, whole tower flashing. Run in the back with a sack of brew. Hermione red laws, but she'll break them too. I ride solo, but I move with wolves. Say one word and you're losing tools. Gryffindor chain hang low on my chest. Scar on my head, yeah, you know the rest. We don't do peace, we don't do truce. We do dark robes and we ride like Zeus. Dark Lord who, we the ones they fear. Wrote my name in the sky last year. You had a run, now it's overdone. Your Horcrux flex, I broke it for fun. I died, came back, now I walk with flame. You a myth from a past that I flushed down the drain. So ring that bell, let the war begin. But know one thing, my gang gon' win.
So now that we see not even rappers are safe, and this could be very, very crucial to the entertainment world as we know it, because labels always want to save money. They always want to save money and make money. And some of these comments, people are actually giving him props and saying that this song was fire, was hard. You know, they actually like the music. So with that being said, a label can look at this and say, have a artificial artist that goes platinum that doesn't need to be paid, and the only person we would have to pay is the person who runs the AI, which may not have to even be a person because we could use AI to make said video. So even if we could pay them the bare minimum because they don't really have to do much work, yeah, it sounds like to me that might be the way for the future, guys. So we don't know. This could turn out very bad. But just to switch gears a little bit, let's talk about, on a more serious note, how this actually can affect a lot of jobs.
You are a finance major at Fordham University. Has this impacted the way you look at the job market?
I think it's definitely something that I keep in mind because especially in the financial industry, there are so many different applications of AI that can be seen within finance, and especially, for example, for roles that may be more trading intensive as far as trading securities. There are already a lot of algorithms that are beginning to be more prominent in the industry, and that's something that I definitely keep in mind when I'm on the job search.
So what kind of job in finance do you think would be safer for you to aim for?
I think it's hard to say, but what I'm currently aiming for are roles within investment management, which is interesting because some will say that AI could have a role in portfolio management and financial advising, but I'm trying to aim for some roles that are more subjective and more strategy-based rather than completely numeric and based on getting the correct price for something, because I feel that that's something that AI could be used for very much.
I guess one of the questions I have is that sort of anxiousness about it that I just touched on. Do you think that this could be like something that can end civilization?
I definitely am not very optimistic about it as it is right now without a lot of regulation and with some of what has been said by prominent tech industry heads like Elon Musk about it. That's definitely something that concerns me in its current state.
Yeah, there's definitely a risk of that, and it's definitely scary. But I mean, again, there's always a bright side. I think it could also bring in like a new era of civilization. That's great.
All right, just a few seconds. Go ahead.
I disagree. I think nothing's going to take away from human interaction. If humans are the ones coding these programs, I mean, at the end of the day, the human mind and our God-given abilities are not replaceable.
All over the internet, if you just type this stuff in, you will find people giving tips and tricks on how to pass their college exams, how to write essays, everything using Chat GPT. Now, some of them are doing it the right way. They're only just getting like ideas and things like that. They're formulating like a study guide or things of that nature. That is all great, and I respect that, and I think that's incredible. But there are others that are literally just using it to simply get through school.
A poll of 1,000 college students showed that almost 90% of them used the chatbot to help with homework. And that was taken right after the launch of Chat GPT. More recent research shows widespread use of AI in both high schools and colleges. The question today is not are students getting help from AI, but are they doing any of the work themselves? Thus, we get the story of Chungin Roy Lee, as told by New York Magazine. A computer science major at Columbia, he was quite open about how he exploited OpenAI. He used it on almost all assignments. He said 80% of his essays were AI generated. Quote, I'd put on the finishing touches, I'd just insert 20% of my humanity. The essays might have been 20% Lee's, but he got 100% of the grade, and that was okay with him. As he explained, most assignments in college are not relevant, but he adds they're hackable by AI. In fact, Lee launched an AI tool that helps students cheat their way through a job interview. Columbia put him on disciplinary probation. Lee notes that Columbia has partnered with OpenAI, which created ChatGPT, so why punish him? He predicts that it won't be long before using AI for homework won't be considered cheating. And if AI can do all the work, then why even go to class? A recent Harvard Crimson article by Sandhya Kumar, class of 2026, looks at the issue of students playing hooky, noting that Harvard has recognized there's a problem and now requires a certain level of attendance. Wrong answer, says Kumar. She says she pulls out her iPad or laptop to work on other assignments when the lecturer can't hold her attention. She recognizes missing class comes with a cost, but her analysis suggests it might be worth it. Check this out. Harvard's tuition, $56,550 a year. Quote, every class I miss costs around $117.81 plus the non-monetary cost of potential implications on my course grade. Who wants to waste $117 and forego a coveted A? The true cost of attending class isn't just measured in dollars, it's measured in time, energy, and opportunity. Every once in a while, that $117.81 feels like a worthwhile trade-off for an extra hour to finish an assignment, prepare for an exam, or recover from an all-nighter. And so I skip class. Kumar adds that students skip out because they don't feel they're learning anything new. They can get what they need based on their own with class materials. So if AI can do all the work and class attendance is unnecessary, then why even invest the 4 years to get a degree?
So I'm sure you've all seen that article about AI and about how college students are using AI to do their work for them. And here's what I'm going to say. There is a time and place to use AI as a tool. Like, for example, I've written essays where I've written the essay myself, I've edited it multiple times, but then like my last final essay for one of my classes. It was worth 20% of my grade. And so after I've written it, edited it multiple times, I put it in Chat GPT to be like, hey, am I answering the prompt fully? Are there any errors of like clarity? Are there any grammatical errors? Just to make sure, because it was worth a big portion of my grade. Or I've used Chat GPT to make like a practice test because I had my Spanish final coming up and I was not doing well in that class and I needed to do really good on the final, right? So there is a time and place for AI. Obviously there are so many like environmental problems with AI, so like I don't use it often, but like if you're going to use AI, there's a time and place to use it as a tool, because I saw so many people arguing like it's just a tool, it's like a calculator if you use it in the right way. But like having it write your work for you, that is not using it as a tool, that is using it as a replacement for human thinking. I'm doing a legal assistant internship over this summer, and I had to be on a meeting for like lawyers who are starting their own practices, and they were talking about like different tools they use to like help get their practice, you know, stuff for like collecting taxes, for payments. And one of the things they brought up was using AI to like write their briefs. And I'm sitting there, good thing my camera's off because my jaw was dropped. I was like, is that not your entire job, for one? And two, like I understand like lawyers are very busy. Hire people. There are so many people who need jobs. There are so many law students, people who want to go to law school who could use a legal assistantship, or, you know, who could be a paralegal to do those types of things for you. And the fact that we're just like making AI do it is crazy to me. And I was talking this with my dad the other day, and he brought up the fact that, you know, there are so many like people, especially if they're starting their own law firm, they might not have the funds to do this. And I'm like, yes, that is very true. However, one, I think ethically that's a weird thing to do. Two, these people who were on this meeting, they were not like, you know, scraping by. They were making bank. And they also had multiple firms. Like, I'm assuming they're doing pretty well. And they also already had other people who were working for them. They had other employees. So you can't hire one more person to do those types of things for you, right? And it's just weird to me that like we're saying like, we know the job market is crap. We know people it's so hard to get jobs. Like I'm in college. A lot of my friends are graduating this year and they're all like, half of them don't have jobs. And I'm like, the job market is crap right now, and we're just throwing these jobs away to AI is crazy. The fact that it's unethical, besides the fact that we're giving jobs away to AI, besides the fact that it's causing so many like environmental issues, it's just also so crazy that people don't want to critically think, and they're not understanding the repercussions of not critically thinking, right? Like one of my friends, she has like a Chat GPT membership or something, and she uses it to do her math homework, right? And she does her homework like, she just puts it in Chat GPT and copies the answers down. And I was talking to her, I was like, so what are you gonna do when the test comes? Because it's like, she has to take the test in person. Like she can't, you know, take it online and like use Chat GPT. Like it's in person. She's like, you know, that's a good point. Yeah, girl, like how are you supposed to get through the class if you never do the homework? That's just like a smaller example of like what we're gonna see, right? People are using Chat GPT in college to do their work, but then once they get into the workforce, there are gonna be times where they can't rely on Chat GPT to do something, and now they're screwed, right? Like you're want to be a doctor, you can't AI surgery. Like what are we talking about? It sucks that teachers like can't teach the ways that they want to anymore. I know so many like of my professors have gone back to doing like paper and pencil stuff because, you know, it's so easy to just use Chat GPT. And I like urge you, if you are like a chronic Chat GPT user, to just like stop and take a step back and critically think. And I know oftentimes also people will like use Chat GPT as like, oh, make me a meal plan or do X, Y, and Z. Google's free. I don't know. There is a time and place for Chat GPT, but I think especially now we're using it too much. And I think every time you want to pull up Chat GPT, maybe just like second guess, be like, can I do this myself? Can I Google this? Can I make a couple Google searches to get to the answer? And if the answer is yes, do that.
If you thought that it was only students, well, there's actually students that's being accused of plagiarism, even though they didn't do it. And the way that the teacher found out was using AI to check if it was plagiarism. How does that make sense?
I get an email like 3 days later saying, hey, you've been flagged for plagiarism, specifically ChatGPT, and for that you need to contest this or you take a 0 and you fail the class.
An AI detection tool incorrectly flagged his work. With his scholarship on the line, Rivera reached out to his professor, who after a closer look, confirmed he did not cheat. This is known as a false positive.
I would have had a very hellish fall semester.
We spoke to nearly a dozen students across the country who have been wrongly accused of AI cheating. Dr. Sohail Faizi is an associate professor at the University of Maryland. He's published over 100 peer-reviewed papers on AI research and AI text detection tools.
What false positive rate are you seeing these AI detectors find?
Many of the companies that we have looked into claim their false positive rate is quote-unquote as low as 1%. We shouldn't accept detectors with 1% false positive rate because false accusation of AI plagiarism can be quite damaging to students.
These products can return a range of results.
I actually wrote a piece of text myself. So I'll just copy the text here. We'll analyze the text. Oops.
Oh my gosh, 59%.
This will be a false positive. I will be accused of AI plagiarism.
For more on the future of AI, let's bring in Axios business reporter Nathan Bomey. Nathan, how soon could we see AI job losses, and is the government ready to respond?
Well, the CEO of Anthropic is saying this could be 1 to 5 years when we see some sort of wipeout of entry-level positions. So this is obviously the big debate, is how soon. I think no one really is questioning at this point that this is going to happen. It's really just a question of sooner or later. And I think adoption is speeding very fast. And there is a sense that this could be a gradually then suddenly type of situation where all of a sudden we see massive adoption and massive wiping out of jobs.
Better understanding of what's going to be affected. What kind of jobs can be automated by AI and what jobs definitely can't?
Anything that's repeatable is going to be automatable. I think that's one way to think about it. So if it involves data entry, for example, if it involves data analysis, if it involves anything that has to do with sort of rote work that doesn't involve human connection, to use the phrase that your reporter used earlier, I think that's a really important way to look at it, because if a human can do it and the robot can't, well, then that's helpful. I mean, human can have conversation with people, can make those human connections, and that's one thing that the robots can't do, at least not yet.
But Nathan, I gotta ask, these AI CEOs, they're putting out this warning, but they're also selling us a product. So why should we believe this prediction?
I think there's no doubt that they have an incentive to say that AI is happening sooner rather than later. And I think there is some reason for skepticism here. I think there's a last mile challenge. They think about this with regard to autonomous vehicles, for example. They've already designed vehicles that can drive about 99.9% of the way, but it's that last 0.1% that can be very challenging. So I think that's going to be the case here too. AI is going to get to a point where it may be able to do almost everything, but if it can't do quite everything, then there's still going to be a role for humans.
All right, we know AI isn't all doom and gloom, so what are the positives within the future of AI?
I think one area to look at that everyone can agree would be positive would be medical innovation. If AI can take all the world's medical research papers, crunch the data within seconds, and determine whether there could be a new diagnosis or a new clinical treatment or perhaps even a new drug, that's one way I think we could see AI have a really positive development in our lives.
This makes me think of the episode of South Park. Anybody is a South Park fan? I no longer watch it, but when I did, there was an episode where they had somebody keep saying, they took our jobs.
People from the future showing up and offering to do the same work for next to nothing. They took our jobs. Took our jobs. They took your jobs. They took your jobs. They took your jobs.
And although it was funny at the time, sounds like we're really heading down that path. But there's a light at the end of the tunnel. What if I told you there was a way to switch all of this around and not worry about your job? What if I told you that way was right in front of your face and you never thought about it before? In fact, many people have frowned upon it and thought that it wasn't really a good option or a viable option. Well, you're probably wondering, man, spit it out already. What are you talking about? It's simple. Trades.
75 grand right out of high school and no college debt. And you're thinking, what's the job? Athlete? Social influencer? Nope. Try welder. That's the salary commanded by an 18-year-old who will soon graduate from Philadelphia's Catholic Father Judge High School. And he's not alone. All 24 graduating seniors in the school's welding program have job offers of $50,000 and above. Aiden Holland is the student with the $75,000 commitment from a defense contractor in New Jersey. They want him to be a nuclear submarine welder. And these stories are not one-offs. They're part of a reevaluation that Randy Weingarten, the head of the American Federation of Teachers, calls shedding the misperception some may still have of technical education as a dumping ground for students headed for low-skill, low-paying jobs. This is the new thinking. The world of education is in a state of flux. The 3 R's now stand for rework, revamp, and review. The government is no longer behind the one-size-fits-all approach to education, which previous administrations promoted as college for all. This new order is designed to modernize American workforce programs to prepare citizens for the high-paying, skilled trade jobs of the future. But as we've seen with the rethinking of the place of education and fresh out of high school welding jobs, the emphasis on college for earnings is changing. Mind you, the data still shows that college is the best bet in the long run. According to a recent study with Georgetown University, somebody with a bachelor's degree earns $2.8 million on average over their lifetime. A high school diploma will earn you $1.6 million. Of course, that's just the beginning of the calculus. For instance, engineering and business majors, they earn significantly more than those who get degrees in education or the arts. At the same time, learning a skilled trade offers job security that you can't always find elsewhere. I remember a great bestseller years ago by Thomas Stanley and William Danko. It was called The Millionaire Next Door. The surprising thesis, backed by a ton of research, was that if you want to find someone who's worth $1 million, there's no need to go to Beverly Hills or Park Avenue. You can just look around your own neighborhood. If a person has a steady job, is able to build up a business or a reliable service, and doesn't live a showy, flashy lifestyle, they'll be able to accumulate a surprising amount over the years. A compelling takeaway from The Millionaire Next Door is that many of the millionaires profiled, they weren't doctors, they weren't lawyers, they weren't executives, they were skilled tradespeople, they were small business owners. And the authors found that a significant proportion of millionaires were self-employed in what might be considered blue-collar or middle-market industries. Think plumbers, think welders, electricians, contractors, pest control operators. These individuals often built modest businesses over time. They exercised strict financial discipline. They reinvested profits rather than indulging in lifestyle inflation. Unlike some high-income professionals who often live paycheck to paycheck in high-status neighborhoods, these tradespeople, they lived well below their means. They avoided debt. They focused on wealth accumulation rather than status signaling. So with all the discussion of education reform, one fact emerges. No matter your path, it's not just the learning you get, but what you do with it. Joining me now, someone who knows a great deal about it, Angie Simon, who in 2021 started the Heavy Metal Summer Experience, a nonprofit program that exposes high school students to careers in trades such as welding, plumbing, piping. It's a free program with over 50 locations across the United States and Canada. Angie, what happened to wood shop? What happened to metal shop? Tomorrow is Mother's Day. I think my mother still has the ladle that I made for her in metal shop, and somewhere I've got one of the business cards that I block style put together in wood shop.
Airworks Vibrant Free.
You know, Michael, that's the problem. That's where the issue is. Somebody asked me, how long do I want to run Heavy Metal Summer Experience? And I said, only until we can get wood shops and metal shops back in high schools. Right now, high schoolers don't know about the trades, and that's the problem. They don't have a chance to experience what it does working with your hands. And I think we need to get that back into our high schools, and our high schools need to respect the fact that there's a lot of other good paths to a career besides college.
Will you speak to the demand? Because I know you've got the data and you know what the situation is across the country, right? It's not just that we want to put these people through your program. There are jobs waiting for them.
Oh, yes, absolutely. There are so many jobs waiting for them. I mean, right now in construction, we are short about 400,000 jobs, and we have about 40% of our industry retiring in the next 5 to 7 years. So being short already, and then they're going to retire in our industry, there is so much opportunity for anybody that would like to be in the trades. And as you had said earlier, many of the tradespeople come through the trades and they start their own businesses as well. Probably about 65% of our contractors within SMACTA, the Sheet Metal Contractors Association, are own businesses by people that came through the trades. So it's such a great opportunity for the students to come through the trades.
We're showing some video of your heavy metal workshop. One of your students said something that caught my ear and my eye. Can we run that tape and I'll ask Angie a question?
There's too many people who don't know about the trades, and I'm glad that they're able to change that with this program.
Alejandro says there are too many who don't know about the trades, and as I watched the video and learned more about this effort, I thought to myself, who do we need to reach? Do we need to reach these students? That would seem obvious, or really is the issue their parents?
Yeah, it's a little of both, and counselors to a certain degree, and school districts. But I am surprised when the parents are so surprised when they come to graduation from our camps to find out how much money a student can make, and the fact that they can be, if you join the union, you are getting trained with no cost to you, and you're making money while you're doing it. And they find out that they get pensions, they get benefits and everything else. They find out that they can make six figures. So it's amazing how quickly the parents will change their tune and say, okay, maybe we don't need to go to college. But we are also focusing on the at-risk and underserved areas. And these are parents that really weren't sure what their kids were going to do, period. And they look so relieved to see that their kids are enjoying this, working with their hands, and actually making projects. So I know that we hit a little bit of a button here because all of a sudden we grew so fast. I mean, to go from 28 kids in 2 camps in 21 to this summer going to have almost 900 students across the United States and Canada. Obviously, it's really needed. And sadly, we're turning down kids from our applications. We have so many applicants for all of our camps. And I'm getting, go ahead.
I know that a lot of parents, hope that their son, their daughter will rise up and work with their hands as an orthopedist or a dentist. But the takeaway here is you can get that same level of satisfaction and earn a good living through the skilled trades. Final thought is yours for 20 seconds.
Well, we were talking about when tradespeople, when I started college, got out of college, so 45 years of college, and started work at Western Alley where I began, mechanical contractor. The pipe fitters who were the same age as I was had already bought homes in the Bay Area. And I had just gotten out of school and I was just starting working. And that's the part that is interesting. You start 18 years old in the trades, and by the time you're 25 years old, you have probably bought a house, and even in the Bay Area. So that's the final thought. I mean, look at that opportunity in it. And actually with technology today, construction is not the same construction that people think about. A lot of technology. So.
Angie, it's a great point. In the Wall Street Journal story that I was quoting from, there was a contractor who does recruiting, goes into high schools, and he says, I'm not looking for the same person I was looking for 20 years ago. There's a technical proficiency, an understanding of computers that is now essential to these jobs because they've gone high tech. Thank you. Keep up the good work.
Thank you very much, Michael. Appreciate it.
Your reaction from the world of X. What do we have? College has become a 4-year party that you happen to be able to get a loan for. The bottom line is, if you can't monetize your degree, you shouldn't be able to get a loan for it. The taxpayer certainly shouldn't be on the hook to help you find. I think Will makes a good observation about how there's this taxpayer role relative to the college degree that doesn't always apply to the trade schools. Many of us were raised. I was raised this way, and it worked out fine for me. Raised to believe you got to go to college, okay? And all we're here to say is there are great jobs to be had that don't require a college degree. The idea that at Father Judge, which is not far from where I'm seated, that employers are coming in to recruit the welders and starting some of them at $75,000 a year, I think it's fabulous. I think it's terrific.
Trade schools need people. Trades are always in high demand. And as you can see, when it came to COVID and we saw which jobs were essential and which ones weren't essential, most of the essential jobs were either in medicine, of course, but it was trades. Truckers were on the road. Warehouse workers were working. Why? Because people needed goods. Supply and demand, right? People needed food, they needed water, they needed different resources, and these jobs were stable. okay, during that whole time.